right, awesome. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. First of all, congratulations on all of you guys getting pipeline certified. How does it feel?
Feels great, Esther.
An amazing feeling. I hung my certificate up here on the wall. As you can see, this is my pipeline cert.
Nice.
Love it. Feels so good.
All right, so what we'll do is go ahead and round robin some questions here. We'll start off with Kiko. How did you prepare for the exam?
The best
Or
way
what did
I
you-
prepared is I looked at the exam material. They broke it down on the pipeline certification, like 20% is this, 20% is this topic. And I chose to go over the topics that I felt I was the weakest at. So I did a little prep at the topics that I felt like I needed a little more work at or practice within pipeline. And I reviewed that source material before taking my test. So I think that really helped me a lot in understanding some material that I felt I needed more work on.
Nice. And Manny, what resources did you use to study from?
I think my biggest resource that I used was actually just the pipelines interface. I kind of went in there and started playing around with, what you could do, what you can't do, refresher on how to build certain things and how certain workflows operated. And that's most of where my prep came from.
Nice. And with Matthew, when taking the pipeline certification course on the university page, what course information would you recommend people to pay attention to?
Oh, that's a great question, Esther. I definitely recommend checking out the Path to Pipeline certification page. It lays out all the different sessions from a true beginner all the way to the advanced. I built a lot of pipelines in my day, but starting with the basics really helped me, and then moving on to more of the advanced features was awesome. I'll point out getting started with pipelines is definitely where you should start if you're new. Managing the pipelines page is definitely huge, so you know where to navigate. There's a couple of questions of that on the quiz that I wasn't prepared for because I thought it was all technical. And then the last one I would say, looking at the actual thing, is troubleshooting pipelines, just to understand more about how pipelines work and if they do not run successfully, how to fix them.
All right, and again here, so next question, how much time would you guys say you spent studying?
I want to take some cinematic freedoms on my part here. I didn't take any time to study this, so you can cut this part out, but I'll let somebody else answer that one.
Yeah, I would say it, Mandy, I would agree. And you can keep that in. Like we went through a lot of training prior to the certification and have a lot of hands-on experience. Mandy and I both built for customers for about a year and a half, 2 years. So we've built countless numbers of pipelines. That was probably our biggest experience. But we did go through the first, at the time when we started the first course, getting started with the pipelines. I think everybody did that. So, I mean, training wise, a couple hours for sure, but hands-on experience, a lot longer than that.
Yeah, if you don't include the path or the trainings on our university, I just took a quick hour before I was going to jump into the exam, just reviewing the topics that I felt I wasn't as strong at, and doing a little extra studying there and kind of reviewing some of the assessments that are built into a lot of these courses and seeing how I did there first.
That's really good. And kind of going back to the trickiest questions, you guys mentioned there was those word problems. Do you guys recall any on the top of your mind? How would you recommend preparing for those?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I mean, some of the university courses here really go in depth with linking in bulk. So I felt pretty prepared going through the path to certification, because they do review that a ton. The word problems, I would just say take your time reading them. I think my head was spinning after reading, 10 to 15 of them in a row, and just like take it one line at a time and understanding exactly what the use case is would be my best advice.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say the new builders definitely have more resources with learning compared to myself and Manny. We had to figure a lot of this stuff out. So hearing Kiko and his experience with the bulk record set, that's awesome. That didn't exist a year ago. So definitely go through the path to certification. And then to Kiko's point, you'll have enough time, slow down. I read the questions too fast and had to read them again because I was like panicking. So just take your time. The test is long enough to get it all in. If you slow down and understand the problems, they're pretty easy, the answers are a little tricky because they try to flip a couple answers around, but if you take your time, you should be okay with that.
Yeah, I agree with Matthew. It's I had the same problem where I read it too fast and had to keep rereading it and try to understand it. Just take your time, plenty of time.
Very good. All right. And how was this exam similar or different to the builder certification? I know you guys probably took it a long, long time ago. Can you recall if there's any similarities or differences? Trick question, you guys all.
Maybe Kiko has a good insight. He probably taken them closer in time wise.
I don't think they're that similar, at least if I'm remembering it correctly. I felt like the pipelines was more use case specific and, you know, problems you had to really think about and understand exactly what's going on to answer them. But the builder certified was more understanding the realm, understanding where things were located, understanding relationships. It wasn't more use case based or story based that you had to solve for. At least that's how I remember it.
Okay, very good. And another question here for everybody. Do you have any kind of hands-on exercises that you would recommend that would help someone with the pipelines exam?
That's a really good question.
The path to certification. There's a ton of built-in use case problems that you go through and build within your own builder account, or they have you download apps. And once you build these use cases out, like linked records or bulk upserts or things of that nature, I'd recommend just doing that to your own application or downloading a different application within the exchange and practicing it again. I think practice makes perfect, even if you do the same exact training course over again and try to do it without looking at the steps. You know, those type of things would help.
Nice. What about you guys? I know you guys have.
Yeah, I have an answer for you, Esther. So in the exchange, there are several apps created by Bree Mackey. One of them being Pipelines Demo that has 5 different use cases. There are several others in there. I know some of my customers have benefited from those apps. You go in there, you learn about the use case, and you build it in Pipeline. So that's very hands-on, different from what Kiko said, but probably just as helpful because it's a real-world experience.
Nice, very nice. All right, so very last question to everybody here. I just want to do a quick lightning round. Based on everything we talked about, could you all give me 3 to 5 tips in like real fast, like 20 seconds or less, how to prepare for Pipelines exam? Is anybody, you guys want to prepare quickly or do you guys want to?
Let's go right in. I'll go. Path to certification, read your help doc, practice, and slow down when reading the word problems.
Yep. I'd say the same thing. Build pipelines, the path to certification, slow down, and build more pipelines.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to have to concur. I think building pipelines is the most effective way that you're going to learn trial and error and understanding what your weaknesses were going through the path. That's kind of what helped me. I understood that there were some areas I didn't understand. I had to go back in and take a little extra help. So I think that's the best way.
All right, awesome. Well, that's all the questions I had today. Thank you guys so much for sharing your tips and tricks. We'll make sure to share it out to the world and hopefully we'll see more people joining us on a journey to Pipelines certification. Thank you.
Thanks, Esther.
Sure,
I'll throw my hat in the air.